Welcome everybody to Instafin Reporting Challenge Week 1. We are excited to have you on board. As it was announced through the email campaign, this week we're keeping it short and easy, and we're going to look at how to monitor your outstanding and overdue loan principal balance over time and how to keep track of your branch's liquidity. So let's go ahead and get started. We're going to rely on combined report for your loan balances. As some of you may already know, the cool feature about Combine is that it allows you to look at data over time. So we're going to start by creating a new sub-report because we assume we don't have any existing report to rely on. So any existing, let's say, loan dynamic report that we want to use. So we are going to click creating. First step is to define the name. Let's call this OLB and overdue trend. Then we're going to create from, like we said, blank, because we assume we don't have any existing report to rely on. Then we're talking about loan balances, right? So we're going to say, select new loan report. Next, show as. Well, the option is between value on dates and differences between dates. And in this case, we want to know the exact value of our portfolio at different point in time. So we're going to stick with value on dates. Next is date mode. So we're talking about a trend. So it's not going to be a single date, but it's going to be a time series. Now, what's our trend? What time interval are we actually interested in? And for the purposes of this video tutorial, I'm going to look at a monthly trend over the past 12 months. So repeat 12 times. And what's my time interval? Months. Of course, you're free to define the interval that suits you best. And also bear in mind, you can create multiple reports for different intervals. And I encourage that, especially if you are aiming at our creativity report that it's creativity reward that it's up for grab. And once we have defined our time interval, we go ahead and click create. This will redirect you to the combined analysis page where that might look familiar, just like loans and dynamic report. You need to select what is the data that you actually want to look at. And we said outstanding loan principal balance and overdue principal. As default pre-configured values, we have OLB total and overdue total. And remember that these are inclusive of interest, penalties, and fees. So instead, we want to select overdue principal and so we need to search for it and outstanding loan balance principal. Okay. Once we've selected the data points we want to look at, we are ready to submit. And here we go. We're going to have the portfolio value for every data point. Just remember that the dates you're observing here are dependent on the anchor date that you selected. So if you select a different anchor date, this data will update accordingly. And when you have a monthly interval, like in this case, it will always select the same calendar day every month. So 12th of July, June, May, and so forth. So are we done here? No. The other cool feature of Combine is that it allows you to define chart directly into Instafin. So why not have a chart? So we click define chart and we're going to select the type of chart. So we're looking at trends and these are best represented through line chart. So let's select read chart. And the next thing to do is select what you want to plot on this chart. So of course we want our two variables, overdue principal and OLB principal. And we're going to select line chart and then our OLB principal and again a line chart. That best allows to, let's say, see trends. Is it going up? Is it going down? And we click save. And here we go. Here's our our balances portfolio, outstanding and overdue portfolio evolved over time. Pretty cool, right? So I hope that your branch managers, your operation manager, COO will find this useful so they can see just with a few clicks how their portfolio is evolving over time. And why do I say just through a few clicks? Because, of course, they won't have to go through this process each and every time, but they will be able to access the report after you save it. So let's make sure we save the report. Three-dot in menu, create template, and we're going to call this OLB and overdue 12 months trend. And the other cool thing about combined dynamic is that you can define categories. So for this challenge, I defined a new category, which means, as I'm going to show you in a few seconds, that this report will appear and will be grouped under this separate section, Instafin Reporting Challenge, rather than together with all other combined report. And we save. So is that it? No, that's not it. Why? Because remember, you created this template and for now it's private, but sharing is caring. So if you want your colleagues to be able to leverage on this report, you have to make sure that you're going to make it public. So let's take a look here. And you're going to see that here you have all the pre-existing combined reports listed all together by alphabetical order. And here we have our report that we just created, which is still unpublished. So how do we publish it? Here we go. We have to go to Administration, Dynamic Report Templates, and we search for our reports, OLB, and overdue 12 months trend, and we make sure that we publish it. Here you can select the visibility of this report, and it's a report that can be useful at every org level. So let's make sure we selected office and it's visible below in hierarchy so that all of your branch managers will also be able to leverage on this. And we publish. Done. If we go back to our page and we refresh, the unpublished should now have disappeared. And here it is. So that's why I was saying just in a few clicks. And to make things easier, you can also suggest to your colleagues to bookmark it so that just with one click they'll be redirected to the page, and all they'll have to do is select their reference date and hope that their instance is not slow on that day. Here we go, and click submit, and here you go. Here you have your chart. Pretty cool, right? So don't forget to share also because of the evangelist reward, right? So now we're ready to move on to the next report. Our second report of this Instafin Reporting Challenge Week 1 is going to show you how to best keep track of your branch's liquidity. And yes, you guessed right, we're going to leverage on General Ledger Dynamic Report. It's pretty easy. What do we need? Well, these are the pre-configured values, which actually do not concern us because all we want to know is the balance of cash at every branch. So we're going to select branch and then we're going to select the running balance. Remember that the running balance represents basically your ending balance as for a trial balance if you just configure it like this. And what do we want to look at? We're not interested in all GLs, right? We are interested in cash. So we're going to select all the relevant cash GL that are relevant for you. And in this case, for example, cash and test. This is just a demo instance. And here we are. And then we're going to click filter. So here you go. We're going to have the list of branches with the corresponding cash balance. And just like before, and as usual, the next two steps are simply to save the report and make it public. So create template, branch, well, cash on hand by branch, for example. Save. And last but not least, we make sure we publish it. So we go to administration, we search for our cash on hand by branch and we publish. Well, cash on hand by branch is mostly going to be relevant for your head office staff, right? Because your branch user can only filter for their branch. So it's a bit irrelevant to make it visible for lower hierarchy, but still you might have people at regional level or maybe district level. So depending on your organizational structure. So we publish. And if we go back to our dynamic reports, we'll see our newly saved report. And we search for cash on hand by branch. Here it is. Well, apparently we had an unpublished one, but here's our published one. And this is it. Make sure you spread the word with your finance department, accounting department. And for this week, well, challenge complete. Congrats. I hope to see you again next week.